Natural Resources family, led by Secretary Atienza. And of course, my greetings to the distinguished sponsor, Congresswoman Carmencita Reyes. At the outset, I would like to say that the DENR is very fortunate to have as their sponsor no less than our colleague from Marinduque, one of the most respected members of the House, and of course a veteran legislator who has demonstrated time and again her stamina in defending the budget of many departments. And I'm sure that tonight she's going to continue showing that stamina.
Lalo na wala kang concern na dalagay dito para sa ganun as soon as possible ma-approve na natin ang budget.
The sound system is a little defective. I cannot sponsor.
But I will ask the Secretariat to give me a copy of your statement so that I can show it to my constituency.
Thank you, thank you. Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor, at the outset, I would like to say that this interpellation has been, my preparations have been assisted very substantially by the Alternative Budget Initiative and Social Watch Philippines with lead convener Professor Leonor Mantolis Briones. And I'd like to start by also talking about climate change, mentioned by our colleague Congressman Walden Bello. There's a lot of preparation already for the Copenhagen Conference of Parties on during the period December 7 to 18. But of course, we see that there are so many agencies involved here. We have the DENR, we have the Senate Committee on Climate Change, the House Committee, we have the Presidential Task Force on Climate Change, chaired by Secretary Angelo Reyes of DOE, and vice-chaired by Secretary Lito Atienza of DENR. I don't know if that's still the standing organization. And we have the Office of the Presidential Advisor on Global Warming and Climate Change, headed by Secretary Harrison Alvarez. And then there's also the Interagency Committee on Climate Change, also composed of several line agencies. So what is the situation now? And of course, pending, already approved by and ratified by the House, the Bicameral Conference Committee report on the Climate Change Act. And the enrolled copy of the bill has been forwarded to the President last October 1. So what is the score right now, Mr. Speaker? Madam Sponsor, with respect to our representation with regard to the climate change conference that is going to be convened in Copenhagen in December.
Your Honor, as I mentioned earlier, during the interpellation of Congressman Bello, that the President has declared herself the climate change child. And so all things are being discussed in the Cabinet. And we will bring this to the Copenhagen conference this December.
It's already almost mid-October. That conference is going to be about early December. So I hope that there's going to be plenty of time so that we can have a meaningful participation and preparation in that conference. May I go now to the meat of my interpellation? First, on the total obligations to the environment sector. The proposed budget is about 1.5 summing it up to about 13.3 billion or 0.86% of the proposed budget. And we know that the sector fell by as much as 1.8 billion pesos or 11.9% from obligations recorded in 2009. So we see a very sharp reduction. And that I find difficult to understand because everybody's talking about climate change, everybody's talking about the environment, about how all of us are worried about environmental degradation. But here we are seeing an 11.9% decrease in obligations compared to the current year. May we seek clarification from the distinguished sponsor?
Your Honor, it was the Department of Budget and Management that cut the proposal of the Department for 2.22 billion. So, and so many of the projects that were supposed to be implemented will have to suffer, including almost many of the proposals of our colleagues with regards also to the problems in their constituents, in their districts, have to be sacrificed because of this. It is the decision of the DEM to cut the budget, although I would admit that during our budget hearing, without any exception, the minority and the majority members of the Committee on Appropriation have voiced their opinion that the cut should be returned. Whatever the proposal of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources should be respected by the DEM. But it all now depends upon the DEM.
Yeah. Thank you, distinguished sponsor.
And this was including your honor, Madam Chair, included the Honorable Congressman of Paranaque had proposed that the budget cut should be returned so that then, because of the many contributions of the DENR to the many projects that need to be given priorities.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker,